Welcome back, my dear friends of the universe, to another video in which we play Battlefront. I've been playing a lot of Hero Hunt recently, mainly because I've had a lot of missions which involve me actually having to get hero kills and kills with heroes and trying to play a lot of Hero Hunt, or winning a lot of Hero Hunt games in order to get credits and so on. So I thought it would be pretty interesting if I just record those sessions and try to talk about what I do in order to stay alive as long as possible, because surprisingly there's a lot of tactic involved playing as a hero or a villain. And I guess there's always tactics involved when you play this game, but very much so when you play a hero or villain, because you have everyone against you in a Hero Hunt game, and you want to be able to take down as many people as possible before you go down yourself, because that's how you win. So one thing, or the first thing that I want to say, is play defensively. Defensive, 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 defensive. If you try to play aggressively, run in open areas and just try to run from enemy to enemy to get as much kills as possible, you are also going to take as much damage as possible, because you're in an open area, you're everybody's target, and everybody's going to shoot at you because they want to become the hero or the villain. It's as simple as that. So here, for example, I'm standing up here and I'm just trying to wait for them to come to me. And I probably should have just continued running there, but I realized that I had people behind me and I wanted to kill those before I had to do something else, so I sort of had to run away. But staying up here is probably a bad choice. I should have tried to move around or flag around and use the trenches in my favor and try to just stay as passive as possible. But then again, you sort of want the action. The action is what is the most satisfying when you play a hero or a villain. But if you want to succeed as much as possible, you're not really gonna do what I do here. For example, I really wanted that kill, so I just went in for it, tried to chase him down and kill him as quickly as possible, and that's what got me down by, I think, 60 health points or something. And that's a major blow if you play as a hero or a villain, because now I only have 22, and if they get a good grenade and a rocket launcher thingy on me, then I am going to be dead. Also, you want to be very sparingly use your abilities. For here, for example, I use both my force grab and my saber throw in order to take those guys down. Maybe I could have done it differently, but then I have two abilities on cooldown. If I get rushed by a lot of other enemies, it's going to be hard for me to actually counter that, because especially with Darth, where you don't have as much movability, that's very important. And another thing to consider when you play Darth or Luke is to use your mouse button 2 ability on PC. I'm not really sure what button it is when you play on Xbox One or PS4, but the defensive abilities of Luke and Darth are really useful, especially against big packs of enemies. And that saber throw, though, that was sexy. Sexy. And when I got that one, I need to put that on the tubes. I need to do something with that. I don't know why. I just thought it was sexy as fuck. But I could probably have extended that kill streak a lot and got more than just 27 kills if I just played more passively and tried to use the map against my enemies. But when you play Darth, for example, and Luke's that we are going to play here, the mouse button 2 ability is very useful. It is going to defend you as well as possibly kill a lot of enemies, especially if there's a lot of enemies shooting at you at once. There's going to be 2 or 3 enemies that stop shooting because they know it's a stupid idea, but there's always going to be someone who doesn't really think that way and want to get as much damage out on you as possible, and then you can use that person in order to kill everybody else. So yeah, that's pretty useful. And on this map, I think this map is one of the easiest maps in order to get big kill streaks, because the tunnels are your friends. Or your friend, basically. I guess the tunnels are your friends. I'm gonna say friends instead of friend. Because if you use your corners in third person and you know where your enemy is at all times, and you only have, like here for example, I only have 2 angles to worry about, and I know that the people are coming from this way and I don't have anyone coming from behind, I'm just having to check because there might be someone trying to be sneaky. Probably not going to happen in Hero Hunt. People want to get to you as quickly as possible, so they're not going to do sneak tactics too often. So it's very important. Also running away from Luke. Really? Really? Dude, really? Anyhow, but the tunnels can be your enemy as well. If you have smart enemies, then they can use the tunnels against you by throwing grenades around corners or putting up turrets around corners and sort of cornering you in, and they can do tons of damage against you. But usually if they're not that organized, then the tunnels can be a great friend towards your personal success. And as I play very passively and just try to look around every corner here and try to use my minimap as an advantage. And that's something that is very important to use, I guess, all the time, but especially when you play as a hero or a villain, because you need to know at all times where the enemies are. You need to know which direction they are coming from so that you can plan your escape or your attack, whatever you want to do. And this one is pretty sexy. The guy that plays Han here, he doesn't use first third person in his advantage. At least I don't think so. So he didn't know that I was standing there with a turret. And I tried to be smart about him. He could have taken another route and ran away from me instead if he knew I was there. But he tried to face me, and that was his downfall. So we are back with Leia here, which I think is one of the easier ones to get a lot of kills with. And mainly because she has her self-heal, which is pretty insane, and the shield itself is really useful as well. But just be wary of grenades, because that can actually take down the shield. If you hit the little generator in the middle of the shield with the grenade, it will almost instantly take it out. So just try to use the shield in your advantage. And you can actually use the shield by just running through it and then securing one of the angles. So if someone comes behind you and starts shooting, you know that they won't hit you, but they probably won't throw a grenade either in order to try to shield that, try to take the shield out, because, well, most of the time people just want to get damage up on you. But that's also about the thing when you play Hero Hunt. If you play as a actual stormtrooper or a rebel and try to take these guys out, then, or the heroes or the villains out, then you have to be very careful about what you do. You can't just rush. Here, for example, people should know that I'm very close to them. Still, they just rush me. That guy was a bit more smart. He was waiting. He put out the droid, and the droids are probably one of the biggest threats if you play as a hero or a villain, because they do tons of damage and you don't really do that much damage to them. So I would say just stay away from droids. Don't try to engage them, don't try to actually take them down. I guess you could, but there's no really reason for you. Just run away, be defensive, and try to find a spot where you can bunker up and try to get as many kills as possible. And that's one thing that I do here. They mostly just come one on me here. And I'm actually hiding the little generator there now, so it's a bit easier for me to stay defensively in this corner, and I have sort of more than 2 angles to worry about, but it's pretty easy to look around. And I see on the minimap that most of the enemies are on the outside, and here, for example, I put out the health even though I have 100% health. But I felt it was better to just put the health out in case I needed it for the next attack, because I want that cooldown to go down as fast as possible. So that's what you want to do. You want to get as many people killed as possible using your actual own abilities, but you want to be scarce with them, but you want to use them as often as possible, because you want that cooldown to get rolling, and you want to get that damage flowing. That was sounded funky. But I was getting tired of that corner. I wanted some more action, so I felt like, well, yeah, okay, I'm gonna move out now. They know where I am, and they could be cooking something up, so I wanted to run around. And I'm always very passive about running out in open areas. I think this is the weakest place for you to be, but I really wanted that health for some reason. I'm not really sure. I have pretty high health, so this is probably gonna cost me more than it will do any good, especially since there's a turret there. But I decided that it wasn't worth it to try to take the health. I'm probably going to lose more health by trying to take it than I would in getting it. So I decided to use the shield as something that could block my backside while I ran down in this little path here in order to get them towards me. Now, one thing that I do badly here is that I didn't consider that there was an enemy actually coming from behind me. If you check the minimap there, then you should have easily seen that that was the case. I was thinking like everybody was coming from one direction, so I didn't really have to think too much about that. So I'm sort of getting overrun here. I should have maybe ran even further into the caves in order to get a better point established like I had in the other cave there, where I only had 2 angles to worry about. There was way too much going on there, and I took way too much damage, and that was a flaw in my plan, really. But it's going pretty well nonetheless. But they are getting stronger and stronger, and that's something that is really scary. 2 droids on the same spot, and they actually got like almost 25% HP of me there, and that's a major hit. Especially from one person. I don't know if it was one person, I guess it was 2 people. And I felt like here I'm solo, I really need to push for this one. But I think that was my downfall here, because if I didn't push for the health there, I could have maybe gotten a little bit more out of that kill streak. Yeah. This time around is actually a kill streak that isn't that successful. It's more of a show of people doing their job as the hunters. Instead of being a good kill streak. I think playing Luke is one of the harder things. Luke has a major case of good mobility. Okay, so that's one of its bigger strengths, which I think you really need to utilize if you want to play Luke well. But he's still one of the harder ones, I think. I don't know why I like Darth more than Luke. I think by the looks of it, Darth would be worse in terms of abilities, but Darth would be worse in terms of abilities, but I always have a pretty hard time playing as Luke. And this time around they were just flocking me. They were pushing me, and they were always 3-4 people doing it. And when you play as Luke, you can't really protect against that. So it's something to use. Try to stick together with your other hunters, even though you want that kill for yourself. Try to stick together with other people and try to coordinate an attack and get as much damage as possible, because if you come one on one, you're probably not gonna do like any damage at all to the actual hero. So yeah, I think I got all my, or the most of my points that I wanted to get through in this video. And if you have any other tips that I didn't talk about, and if you just think I'm silly or just want to comment on anything at all, then leave a comment below. Like and share if you enjoyed, and until next time. Bye.
I'm sexy and I know it.